Hey there and welcome to Cryptology for You, the channel that's not even about cryptology at all, but all about cryptocurrency. I'm your host Paulie D, and today we're going to take a bit of a sneaky look at Fibonacci retracement. Well, regardless of what you're going to learn in this video, it's still not financial advice. There's just never going to be any financial advice on this channel. It's all for education, maybe even a little bit of entertainment, but this one is definitely education. Now, the Fibonacci retracement is just a little bit more mathematical than usual for this channel, so let's delve into a little bit of maths. It's easy maths, I promise you. Well, Wikipedia seems to have the answers for it all, and here it is. This is what the Fibonacci sequence is. Now, Fibonacci retracement and Fibonacci sequence are related. But let's just take a look at the Fibonacci sequence first. So each number in the Fibonacci sequence is the sum of the preceding two numbers. Now, if that didn't make some sense, well, let's just take a look at some of these numbers. Here we have, well, there's 8, and that is the sum of the previous two numbers. 5 and 3. Well, it's pretty easy, isn't it? Well, let's test if you've been listening already. What is the next number in this sequence after the 144? I'll give you a couple of seconds to work it out. The best way to get that couple of seconds is to pause the video now, write down the answer, and then pop it in here to see if you understood. The other way, you could just keep watching, but we've already gone a few seconds already, so you probably didn't need to pause the video, but here is the answer. So the Fibonacci sequence is the sum of the preceding two numbers, and the sum of those two numbers is going to be 89 plus 144, which gives us, well, hey, 233. Did you get it right? Were you listening, or did you already know? Now, the thing with Fibonacci numbers is they produce a lovely looking spiral when you put little squares around the size of those numbers. And those numbers can look quite enticing. Ooh. Despite Fibonacci being the name of the Fibonacci sequence, it really didn't come from Fibonacci. He was a bit of a cheater, really, and if you look at the history, you'll see that actually the sequence originated in India and many hundreds of years before Fibonacci brought it into Europe. But he still got it named after him, the lucky guy. So the Fibonacci sequence first appeared in Indian mathematics, and this was some time ago, perhaps 450 to 200 BC. And then these sequences didn't even reach into Europe until 1202, when Fibonacci released a book. Well, all that's very cool, but how is Fibonacci gonna make me rich? Well, you've heard about the sequence. Well, now it's time to learn about retracement. Now, the Fibonacci retracement levels are going to be places where we would expect to see some support or perhaps some resistance, and they occur at pretty specific intervals. And those percentages are very well thought out. These would include 23.6%, 38.2%, 61.8%, and the controversial 78.6%. More on that later. Occasionally you'll see people using the 50% as well, and of course you'd also need the 100% because that's going to be the starting point, and you'll see how this is all going to play out very soon. We know that Fibonacci sequences are out there in nature all the time, but they're also in our trading. So I'm going to show you some short ways to do the calculation yourself. You'll just need a calculator or a pretty good brain, or I'll show you a cheap and cheating way of doing the calculation, or I'll show you the easiest possible way to do the calculation without even doing the calculation. Well, let's take a look at a first example. Imagine the market was bearish, and if the market was bearish, all we need to do to find a Fibonacci retracement level is take the peak of the coin we're looking at. So at what point was this coin at the top? Then we're going to take a look at the trough of this coin. At what point was this coin at the bottom? And then all you have to do is take the peak and subtract the trough, and this is going to be the difference. And you need that difference because then you're going to multiply that by the Fibonacci retracement ratio. And this is going to be some percentage, and I've already shown you those. And now you'll just add that to the low. Let's take a look at what would happen now. So we've got a bearish market. I'm going to take a made up coin that is currently trading at $50, but previously was trading at $200. So here's our peak, $200, and here's our trough, the $50. The first thing I'd like to do is work out the difference between the two. So I take the 200 and I subtract the 50, and that leaves me with 150. Now, do you remember all the retracement levels? Because those are the ones we're going to need. Yeah, here they are again, just in case you've forgotten. So we're going to use the first major retracement level, which is the 61.8%. Now this is going to be the last resistance level that the coin is going to experience before it gets back to that 200 peak. So that equation that you're going to need, you take the low, you add on the difference multiplied by that Fibonacci retracement level. And as pointed out, that first major level just before the $200 mark is going to be the 61.8% retracement level, and then the coin will be at its highest resistance just before heading towards its peak. Popping that all into the equation, we have the low plus the difference multiplied by the retracement level, and that gives us 50 plus 150 times 0.618. 0.618 would just be 61.8%. That's just 61.8 divided by 100. And this gives us $142.70. So the coin is going from 50. When it reaches that 142.7, that is the last resistance level before it heads on up past that 200 again. Was that just a little bit too much for you? Do you want to try another one? Well, let's look at the next resistance level. Do you remember what that next level is? Yeah, see if you've got it. It is, 38.2%. So our low was 50, and we're going to plus the difference, which is the 150 multiplied by the 0.382, and this gives us $107.30. So that is a resistance level again, up from the 50. Maybe you want to test yourself, see if you can get what the next resistance level is. Just remember that equation, low plus difference times retracement, and I'm going to put the answer up straight away now. So if you want to work it out and you remember what that next level is, go ahead, do it now. Otherwise, here it is. This is the answer. If you don't want it and you want to work it out, you need to pause. Otherwise, here comes the answer. It's coming. Yeah, we have the 23.6% retracement level, and that's going to give us an $85.40 point. Now, so you start off at the 50, and the next resistance level is going to be at the 85.4, using a coin that started off at 200 and dropped down to $50. Now, of course, you could change the length of the retracement, but just for the sake of this argument, this is what we're working with. Yeah, but wait, I do realize there's more. We did miss one of those retracement levels, yeah, the 78.6%. Now, why did I miss that? It's a little bit controversial, and I'm going to go over a little bit of background on why this is. Now, some people who use Fibonacci retracement like to use the 76.4%, but is it really a correct Fibonacci retracement level? Well, let's investigate where these percentages even come from in the first place. Well, they come from a pretty easy equation. We take the preceding number and divide it by the next number in the sequence. So we need to go back to that sequence again. Now I just took 89 and then I divide it by the next in the sequence, which is 144. You just need to remember the sequence, and you can go back to the start of this video to see some of those sequences. And if I did this 89 divided by 144, I end up with 0.618, the 61.8% retracement level. So how is the next one worked out? This first one was the 61.8%, so what about the next one? Well, it's the same idea, but for the 38.2%, instead of taking the first preceding number, we take the second preceding number. Yeah, it's a little more complex, but not by much. And this gives us our 55 divided by 144, which is going to equal the 38.2%. Well, that covers the 61.8 and the 38.2, but what about the next one? Is it pretty obvious now? Where does the 23.6% come from? Yeah, this time we're just going to take the third preceding number instead of the second or the first. And this time it's going to be the 34 divided by 144, and that's going to give us the 23.6%. So that covers our three retracement levels, but where is the 78.6% or 76.4% coming from? Well, let's start off with the 76.4% because the 76.4% is pretty easy. It's just the reciprocal of the 23.6%. So if I take 100 minus 23.6, I'll get the 76.4%. But what about the 78.6%? Where is that from? Well, the 76.8% comes from the square root of the 61.8%. Oh yeah, it's a little bit much, but you get the idea, and I'm just going to check that's right. Yep, that looks pretty good to me. Shall we take a look to see what would happen if the market was bullish? We have to make a slight change to the equations, so let's take a look at that. the market's bullish, the coin's going up in value, you take a recent peak, just like the last one, you take a recent trough, just like the last one, you take the difference, just like the last one, and you multiply by the Fibonacci ratio, just like the last one again, only this time you subtract that from the high. Let's take a good look at an example of this right now. So we had a coin that was trading at $50 and it's peaked up now to $200, and there's some sort of an uptrend going on there. So we want to find some support levels where we might be able to come back in on that coin. So start the same way, just work out the difference. It's going to be the high 200 minus the low 50, which is going to be 150 again. That's pretty easy. Now work out those key retracement levels, and remember those key retracement levels? Here they are again in case you've forgotten. We're going to look at the 23.6% Fibonacci retracement level. That's the first of the support lines. So start the same way, though this time the equation's slightly different. Remember, we're going to take the high, we're going to subtract now the difference multiplied by the Fibonacci retracement level. And that retracement level is the first one, which is the 23.6%, as I was saying. So that equation is just going to be 200 minus 150 times the 0.236, and that's going to give us 164.60. So that is the first support line if the coin is going to go from 200 down towards that $50. Now, I did work all that out manually, but if you wanted to take the cheats way, you can go to Omni Calculator. They have a Fibonacci retracement level calculator, which you can put in all the numbers yourself and work it out. I will put a link in the description below, and you can just check that out. Now, you've all seen old Anorak here doing it. Hey, Anorak's been showing you a few Fibonacci retracements on his graphs, as well as in the Discord and on video now. So how does he do it then? Well, he does it a slightly different way to what I'm about to show you, but what I'm going to show you is the way for everyone. And for this particular experiment, I'm going to be using Binance Exchange, and I'll put a link to Binance in the description below. And currently, right now, Binance are offering 0 trading fees on all Bitcoin trades. However, if you join up using the link in the description below, you will get 10% off all of your trades, no matter what the coin. I'll also put some other links in the description below, and you can look at those too. Now, I'm using a web version, and if you look on the left hand side there, you can see that there are a set of tools that you can use. Now, it may look different on your screen, but regardless, you should be able to find those tools pretty easily, and this is just from the spot trading page on Binance. Now, this might be a bit difficult to see, so let's zoom in on that, and there you go, it's a bit closer, and we're looking for a particular tool. This one here, the one that looks a bit like a fork. Click on that, and you'll see there that there is the Fib retracement tool. Click on that, and all you do is click on the peak, and you drag all the way down until you get to the trough. And this pops in the Fib retracement lines for you. Yeah, why did we do all those calculations? Well, it's good to learn to walk before you run, but this does it all for you, and it is so easy. You'll be able to see Fib retracement in so many articles that you're reading. I mean, take a look at this one. It points it out very clearly that the price could increase all the way up to 29,400, which is the 38.2% Fib retracement level. Well, surprisingly, this is exactly what I've just looked at. Now, let's go back and look at that again. See, now, you might not be able to see it on this screen, so let's zoom in a little bit. Let's point in around about that 38.2% level. There it is. And yeah, that's the 29,300 mark, and the paper reported 29,400. I was just a little bit conservative, but 29.3, 29.4, that's about the same. So that is the 38.2% retracement level. Now, because I managed to buy some Bitcoin, this 24,830 level is one of the levels I'm looking at selling. But I'd be more than happy for it to reach this 29,400 level or 29,300. This would also be another point to start selling. If you DCA in, you can also DCA out. And why not pick some of the Fib retracement levels as your DCA out levels? Of course, you still need to do your own research. Fibonacci retracement levels aren't exactly perfect. In fact, They're only a good guideline and merely a guideline. There is almost no guarantee that the support will occur at those points or that there will be resistance at those points either. So just be pretty clear that these are only a guideline. You're welcome to come into our Telegram, Discord or Facebook groups. Anorak will be there and I will also be able to help out if you want, but there are plenty of other people there who really enjoy this sort of stuff. Ask about Fibonacci retracements as much as you like. I'm going to put plenty of links in the description below. You should probably check some of them out. They're going to be pretty handy, including the link to Binance where you will get 0% fees on Bitcoin trading currently, plus a 10% off of all other trading fees. I've also taken to Twitter recently, so why not follow me on Twitter as well? I'd be happy to see you there. Don't forget the Discord group. In the Discord group, Anorak is putting in these charts pretty much daily, and you'll see the Fibonacci retracement levels on those charts. And now you won't even have an excuse to know what Fibonacci retracements are. I hope you've enjoyed the video and you've learned a little bit about Fibonacci retracements. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit that little alarm button down there so you know when the next video is coming. Like and share this video with your friends because your friends probably want to learn about Fibonacci retracements as well because they're pretty damn handy. Well, I've been your host, Paulie D, and happy profits.